Yes, autumn is here, it is wet, it is cold, but I've got a little bit of a treat for you. I filmed a video in the summertime of repairing a Amiga disk drive, but I didn't get the chance to actually release it. So you get a little dose of summer in this video. So get yourself cozy and enjoy some warmth. And that is the Roclite disk drive by Roctec. And this is a little bit of an unusual one. By the way, I had this back in the day. PCBWay do custom high-quality PCB boards suitable for any of your personal electronics projects, whether through-hole, SMD, multi-layered, flexible, or any other requirement you have. They also have a community of enthusiasts from around the world submitting their personal projects, and you can order PCBs related to anything from others in the community. They also have 3D printing and CNC services. I myself am working in a project for a future video, and I'm planning to use their services since I'm impressed with the quality of their PCBs. I remember getting them from a car boot sale, actually, this one. Back then, that is, in the 90s, when things were when car boot sales were a little more interesting and things were a little more available. So yeah, people are probably asking, why is she still using floppy disks? Why is she doing this? That's the same thing as saying, why are you using Amigas and original hardware when you should just be emulating? You know, it's the same effective question. I know there's a lot of people who are really dead against using floppy disks because it's sort of, I've come across people who are absolutely aggressive about this. It kind of is a little amusing in the groups and everything, right? The retro groups. Some people get so aggressive in the sense of like, oh, I will buy everyone's floppy disks and I will burn them and all this stuff, right? And some people in the comments in the past have aggressively said, why are you still using, you know, them? How can you? How this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why are some people so irked over floppy disks? I know there can be a pain in the neck and, you know, all that, but they weren't so bad back in the days. You know, it's like cassettes. The same thing as, oh, I hate using cassettes. The tape always gets too chewed and all this. Yeah, but that rarely happened to me. I can count on one hand how many times that happened throughout my life, and I've been using cassettes since the 80s. You know what I mean? So, and the same as like floppy disks, the earlier ones were actually much better. It's only the later ones which people probably have the actual memories about, because they're the latest ones. And those people are remembering as they're really terrible. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. Funny thing is though, right? Even though people complain this much about floppy disks and floppy drives, Amiga floppy drives like this one that I'm currently, you know, restoring, repairing, whatever. They cost stupid amount of money now. You know, it's like to get an external Amiga floppy drive is like you gotta pay some silly price now. I got this quite cheap, so I just thought, okay, I'll repair it. Clearly, it needed something. But I have to say, I've never come across a floppy drive with a belt. I mean, my technical knowledge doesn't go that deep into like floppy drives and anything like this. So I didn't know it was a thing to have. I thought they all had to be direct drive, but well, shows how much I know. I'm sure I'm getting a gazillion people looking at me right now because I'm like in a residential area and there's a lot of like curtains, which is I don't really care right now. Yeah, they say that, oh, you have a Gotek, you have this, you have that. I'm not against emulation, I'm not against Gotek, but you know, I do have a Gotek drive, but sometimes, you know, when you have that sort of little nostalgia for, I've got nostalgia for kind of the smallest little thing, the smallest little details. And the floppy disk experience and sound is one of them. As annoying as floppy disks can be to use, right? I still kind of find them a bit nostalgic. And if I want to do something, if I want to do the practical side of things, I have the option to go on to using a Gotek or WHD load, you know, so it's, we have those times where your mood is just
you just want to hear that floppy drive sound, or you want to, hear those cassette loading sounds if you're using a Spectrum or something like that, or playing the SID tune on the on the actual loader. I need to disassemble this, which is going to be fun. I think it's just this, to be honest. It's not going to be so bad. Right, there's here the new belt. It's not going to be as fun. I think I just got to feed it in and make sure it goes behind. There's a pulley over here. So there's a pulley over here. This thing here, if you can see that thing. Now I just need to make it go behind that and around here. So it goes around here, behind that, and then around the motor, which is here. So I need to be very careful here because these are thin wires on the motor, and I can't be bothered doing any soldering right now, especially if it's just to repair some silly mistake that I've done. Something tells me this is not going to be easy nor fun. Let's hope I'm wrong. Got it there. Right, so just make this go around that big pulley there, that part which turns the entire disc. Actually, I'm quite surprised that they are belt-driven disk drives. I thought they required that precision and it needed to be direct drive, but hey, life surprises you. Okay, so that's around that pulley. You can see it there now. We need to get this behind that pulley there. Okay, I know this is a bit washed out, this bit, because I've increased the camera exposure, but that pulley there, the belt goes behind that. Okay, so good. So now all I need to do is put the motor on here, but with that, through there. So, and that should be done. And then maneuver that into okay, yeah, this part's not going to be fun, is it? And you start thinking it's going to be easy. Then the last bit is one of those bits that just undoes everything you've just done. Okay, right. Got it behind the pulley. Okay, so I need to push that belt upward. Right, so we have here and we have... Okay, so I think we've got it here. Yep, perfect. It all kind of turns. I mean, they're tough things, but still a good thing to do. Right, so I got it there. Now, what I need to do is do not put the faceplate on just yet. In fact, from the back, I'm gonna push it into the casing. And then insert this and push this into the casing until that front bit pushes through there. Clip this back bit, and hopefully now this thing should work perfectly. Because what happened is when you inserted the disc, the light came on and you could just hear this motor running. So I just thought, okay, yeah. That's yeah, kind of like that motorbike just demonstrated in the background there. And then realized, oh yeah, this is a belt-driven one. So I ordered a new belt. Thankfully, it was still around. I think it's not exactly for this model. It's like another model of Roctec drive. The size seems to be exactly the same. So there we have it here. The belt changed on this. So I've connected this Roctec drive to my Amiga 1200, but before I put any disk in it, what I want to do is clean it
and I've had this little brush from since back in the day. In fact, this entire disc box I have and all these discs since back in the day. I remember getting it from stationery box actually, because I just saw it and I thought, okay, floppy disk drives need cleaning too. So I've sprayed some solution on it, which is basically isopropyl alcohol, and let's select DF1, of course there. Okay, so read seems fine, write seems fine. Let's try and load a game or something from it. Back memories. I used to play this in late high school, early college days. Actually, mid to late high school. Everybody was all over Arkanoid. Well, I was all over Megaball and Megaball AGA. I really should connect this to like better sound rather than just the RF. Sorry, the TV speaker. And this Megaball AGA was my favorite, always. And you start playing good when you're just doing an example. When you're playing a real game, you play really crap. Now I don't want to stop. So I mean, I miss the experience of floppy drives in like this. It feels part of the entire setup and the entire experience. And I'm one of these people who recognizes the game by the floppy drive loading sound. I know I'm such a geek. Floppy drive works perfectly. Reads at least. Let's try and copy a disk with it. There we go, works perfectly. Better. Anyway, it works. Reading works, writing works, everything works perfectly. So I have another disk drive, yay! I do have a few more disk drives. Let me turn the Amiga off so I can show you. You know the other one I was talking about, the Sony one? Right, so my disk drives, what I have besides the Roctec back in the day. The first one I started off with was the Command drive. My brother bought this alongside the Amiga 500, and this Command drive, I mean, a lot of you will know this. It's very, you know, a lot of people had it. And loading Lemmings, the sound of this has etched itself into my into my skull. Yeah. So yeah, as I said, I'm one of these people who knows a game by its loading sounds. Well, some games anyway, the ones I played a lot. So that's how much floppy disks I enjoy using floppy disks back in the day. Yes, I know they can be a pain in the butt, but they can also have, they also have their charm. So anyway, we had this. I think I went to a car boot sale when I was a little older, and I had my own Amiga and my own setup. It's when I started creating music, well, just before I started creating music. I got this, the Roctec, and the Sony one. I call it Sony. I think it's Amitech or something like this, but it's got a Sony drive in it. I opened it up because it started acting funny, and I didn't understand why it was acting funny. By the way, this is the one that sounds crunchy. I'll demonstrate later on. This one, I did look inside it. I was like, there's something maybe wrong with it. Maybe, also I tried cleaning it, all sorts, but, to no avail. But then I realized something, all right? That when you use a high density disk, you have to cover this hole, the extra one, right? When you use this drive. When you Amiga format, because obviously it doesn't recognize high density disks, the Amiga. So when you try and do it, it just sees it as a corrupt disk. Yeah. So you have to cover the hole for it to detect that it's, double density. I'm tricking into thinking it's a double density, or else it just won't work. That indicates that it's a PC drive that's been converted to an Amiga drive. It's a Sony drive. Now this is something that has always bugged me, right? Knowing about that, I thought back then, why this Amiga 1200? My little rant about the Amiga 1200. Why did the Amiga 1200 not have a built-in high-density drive? It could have been an Amiga formatted high-density disks are like almost 2 meg, so it's like 1.8 something, meg. That's quite a lot compared to just like 880k. You know what I mean? So AGA games, they could have been a bit bigger, more space on the disc, better music. Also music. Another thing I've got to rant. Why didn't they upgrade the sound on the Amiga 1200 as well? Things like, for example, Lion King and Aladdin, just two examples. When they were ported over from the, not so much Aladdin, but Lion King, right? Ported over from the Mega Drive. There's a lot of levels missing on the Amiga version. My cousin played the Mega Drive version, and it's got so many levels more than the Amiga one. And that bugged me. That always bugged me. I was just like, and I know it's because it's got there's not got enough discs, not enough room on the thing, because see the Mega Drive has got the cartridge. So you can, So, high density discs would have solved that problem. And with regards to the sound, Aladdin, yeah? There is something about certain Amiga ports of things that bugs me on certain Amiga games. On the Amiga, as much as I love the version, the sound effects cut off the main melody, the leading melody of the track, of the music. And that's so annoying. But there's one criticism I have of the music and how they've arranged it. I mean, the music itself is fine, but it's like, listen, to make room for the sound effects, it doesn't cut off the beat. It cuts off the freaking main tune. But I used to play hours things. I'm like, why didn't you, when you had the 1200 out, why didn't you give it at least 8 channels? I mean, my ideal dream would have been like a 4-channel Paula alongside 3-channel Sid. That's just my own personal dream. Sid alongside Paula is like, I'd love that. But, at least have like 2 Paulas or double the Paula or something. You know what I mean? But, the CEOs and everything, and they had other agendas, but yeah, okay, I can dream about all this. I know there's probably all other reasons why, all this could not have been possible and all that, but just,
that's in an ideal world, that's what I would have wanted. Yeah. So yeah, rant over. My thoughts on how the Amiga 1200 and the Amiga 600 should have been over. I'm going to show you the crunchiness of this drive now. So I'm going to put 3 drives in this setup. That's DF0, or DFO I used to call it. DF1, the Roctec's going to be DF2, and the Kumana is going to be DF3. And yes, at one point I did have all the drives. You can only connect to like 3 other external drives. So maximum 4 drives you can have. Daisy chained. So I said daisy changed. At least I heard myself say that. Anyway, now before I got a hard drive, I had this setup, 3 external drives. When I started creating music, right? Sample disks and mod disks and things like that on my, so this, especially with sample disks, I had a few, and it just came in so useful. You just, you're loading from different disks. Now we also have this 4th drive, external one, and this was in a bad way, as in cosmetically it was really bad, and also it just was a bit flaky. So I kind of restored it, and rather than sort the cosmetic out in the sense of, I just decided to do a spray paint over it to match my blue Amiga. And yeah, so this one is a recent addition to those 3. So let's load Megaball with this. So that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed my little adventure with floppy disks and floppy drives and my restoration of this thing. Also, don't forget there is a video I did last week on a Walkman, also personal stereos Walkman. Also, the previous one before that was about trackers, and I get into different trackers. So yeah, do check out those. Also, my blog posts and everything on my website. When you subscribe to that, you'll hear about it all. I hope you have a nice evening. Stay warm and cozy. So, thanks so much for your likes, your shares. Do leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my other videos and do subscribe for more. Also, I do more than create videos, so for more content, don't forget to check out my website as it contains all what I do. I update my blog fairly regularly, by the way. I'm very happy with how I've designed my website and wish to thank Rich Garbett for all the hard work and effort he's put into making it all work. Also, a big thank you goes to my top tier patrons: Rich Garbett, Axel Dominator, Electronskip UK, Aaron Metcalf, Corey Ostman, Starglider77, Mark Bosak, Starlight Minako, Chris Seblinski, and Veronica Explains. No matter what the Patreon tier, each of you who choose to support me genuinely out of the goodness of your heart deserves appreciation. Hence, the least I can do to show my thanks is list your names in my videos, regardless of tier. Thank you again to all of you who genuinely support me. I'm really touched by it. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Until next time, adios!